Welcome, Buckaroos, to the first of the season Buck Boys podcast. You got me, Ricky Bucks, and we got the Beast with us.
Howdy.
We're just going to start the season here talking about some of the things. We're going to be doing some different stuff this year. We're excited to bring some maybe events, different things online, a different page I'm going to tell you about. So keep an eye out for that. I'm going to hope to do some little kind of check-ins every week, little mini shows, and we'll try to do some of these podcasts, keep you guys informed on what's going on in the state. First off, we're a little late because we just realized that we have the surveillance season starting and the surveillance counties in, 3 days? What are those counties? Do we know? Hold on, I think I have
do
them.
not.
I think it's Defiance is one, right? Is Defiance one? Yeah. I got it right here.
My need to know is I do not.
No, sorry, not Defiance. Hardin, Marion, and Wyandotte. And then to include Augalaize, probably not saying that right, Jackson Townships, and Allen County. So basically, I'm sure everybody knows about that, but those are the the chronic wasting disease surveillance. So those lucky guys get to go out and hunt early. So if you're out hunting and you get a big one, send it to us. I'm usually waiting at the end of the year or the end of the month, but I'm sure we'll get some big ones in the meantime. On that same note, we saw, Jeff from Defiance County posted online 3 really big bucks on his property. All looked like went down to the chronic wasting disease, EHD, or whatever the hell that all is. But so that sucks. So sorry about that, Jeff. But so it's out there. The 14th is archery, and then the 12th is a gun season, which is really, really sweet. That's the only real news we got to start. Nothing's been going down yet. So what we're going to do today is we've decided to follow what all the other sports shows are doing, and we're going to bring you the Mount Rushmore of Ohio monster bucks. Meaning Ohio has had some awesome deer, some mega giants, world-class deer, and we are going to discuss what we think would be Mount Rushmore's 4, right? I'm remembering that right.
4 it is, but can you do that with Ohio bucks? It's going to be tough.
No, it's going to be hard. It's going to be very tough. We're going to get right into it. So I'll tell you which ones I've picked, but there's a couple that I don't know if I'm even convinced myself. So, drum roll. First one. Oh, wait, hold on. Hello, everybody. We got Sky with us.
Sky. We almost got Sky.
Sky is muted, and we don't know how to unmute him. That looks real nice. Got a nice trophy buck set. Oh, bye, Sky. Better luck next year. We'll get you one of these times, Sky.
That's the internet version of tag soup.
It just interrupted my drum roll. So the obvious one, I think everyone can agree on, is the hole in the horn. One of the greatest bucks, if not the greatest buck ever killed. I mean, it's, 328. The story behind it, found dead on the railroad tracks, just like an unbelievable deer. If you're watching on YouTube, we'll be showing pictures of these. If you're just listening, well, sorry, you know what the hole in the horn is. But the hole in the horn would be on it for sure for me. I'm going to go the Brad Germain buck, 201 net, just because it's a 10 point that is 201 inches, and it's the biggest typical ever killed in the state. I got to give it credit. The next one, I have to put the Brian Stevens buck. For those of you who are unfamiliar with that, just look it up or look at the picture we're going to post. 30, hold on. 34,
And 35.
so 34 and 35-inch main beams.
Crazy.
I don't know if anything since, but at that point, I don't think there'd ever been a deer with beams over 33, right?
What was it where they classified the frame? I believe it was width, beams, and height. And that deer might, I think it was, yeah, width, beams, and the longest time. That deer might be number one ever. And that's what they classified
So
it.
you're just taking those factors.
Yep, that's kind of what people agree on as frame. Like when you say there's a big frame buck, and if he ain't the biggest, he's right there. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean the frame. If you look at it is just insane. I think it has like 15-inch tines, but it's just insane. I'm trying to find it right now. Some of these stats.
The crazy thing is I want to say it scores maybe 214 or something, somewhere in there.
No,
But
you mean typical?
is that what it was? Is that what it grossed?
Well,
Whatever
it grossed 250 and netted 232 because they scored it non-typical.
232. Okay.
But I think the typical frame is insane.
As crazy as 232 is, I don't know if it does that buck justice, which is just a wild thing to say.
Yeah, I think in person there's not a deer that looks bigger, except we'll talk about that in a little bit. So here's where the controversy comes in. Not really controversy because I don't really care how it died because we're not talking about biggest bucks killed by hunter or anything. I'm going to put number 4. I have to put the Alexander buck. Whether poached, killed legally, whatever, it's an Ohio buck that is just an absolute insane. I mean, 32-inch beams, 27 inches wide. They had 50 inches of mass. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it might have been a hair over.
Yeah, that's
45
if you put that up against any of them, it's just as big, if not bigger, than any other deer. So I think that would go on my Mount Rushmore. The next ones, originally I had instead of that, and I was like torn between, was the Beatty buck and the Kaufman buck.
Which one's the Kaufman buck?
The Kaufman buck's the 300-incher with the like huge extra beam.
Oh, yeah.
It was just because it's a 300-inch deer, I feel like it has to gross is 300 inches.
Yeah, it's decent.
The Beatty buck, I love. It's almost like a mini hole in the horn, but not mini, but a little smaller. But it's similar. But the Beatty, but I do love that rack. It's so unique. Right, Kaufman buck was 300. It netted 287, but I think it was 300 gross. And then, yeah, so I think I would go hole in the horn, Jermaine, Stevens, Alexander. And then what's that statue out there? Isn't it like Crazy Horse?
Oh, yeah. Still in progress,
I believe. If I had like a Crazy Horse extra buck, I think I would have to go Beatty, but Kaufman, because it's 300 inches, would be close.
Well, that's kind
One other thing I would like to say is I wish you could see them all together, and I would love to see the Jermaine buck next to, do you know the Jason Thomas buck that won this year that had like that questionable split tine, the huge typical?
Yeah.
That buck looks pretty big. Not pretty huge. I would like to see that as a typical deer next to their Jermaine buck. I bet you it would be interested to see how it held up.
Yeah, for sure. I think when they get like that, if you had that deer which I'll talk about in a minute. The skull plate of it, just the skull cap and the antlers, is it's not like anything else you ever seen or ever held or been near.
Right. But I mean, they're all. I mean, it's incredible deer. Ohio's got awesome. It would be cool to see them all together. But yeah, I think that is my list. What is yours? If you had your
Oh,
top four,
so the Kaufman buck I kind of forgot about. I would almost say,
do you
I
know what
guess
I'm talking about now, though?
I know exactly which one you're talking about. As soon as you,
Yeah.
it's got like the extra rack going backwards.
Yeah.
Um, so mine are a little bit different. I have
Okay.
the.
Oh wait, hold on.
Uh, uh,
You're not muted, Sky, but we don't hear you.
say something.
It says you're there. Can you hear us? Give us a thumbs up if you could hear us. It does not say muted anymore, but we can't hear you. Do I have to turn him on? That's not it.
I don't know.
He's got his IT team there.
Yo, I see him. Big man.
Man, these Columbus computers are like slows.
So close. Man, you look good though, Sky.
Yeah, you do. I wish you knew like sign up by. All right, that's enough. We'll ban him. All right, let's hear it.
All right. I'm not so much on the order, but the Jermaine buck is on my mountain there, and that is a deer. As you were saying before, I believe it was a replica, but I got to hold those antlers on just a skull cap, and it was. You know it's big. It's a 200-inch net typical, 200 plus, which is one out of what 50 million deer, say. So you know it's big, but it was surprising even knowing how big it was before I saw it. It was just something else. The Schmucker, aka Lucky Buck,
Oh, Smucker buck.
feller shot.
Yeah, like high 190s.
Yeah,
Adams County. I remember that deer.
yep. That was that's a pretty neat deer. I remember seeing that. I don't know if it was the original on a mount somewhere, maybe one of the Ohio Sportsman shows or something. But that's a crazy buck. I have the Brian Stevens buck that we already talked about. But again, that deer's frame is just unbelievable. And I think one of the coolest things about that is if you look that up, one of the more popular pictures you'll see of that deer is a picture of the hunter looking at the buck, and whether he meant to or not, he almost looks surprised looking at it. Like even though he had recovered it and saw it, like he still couldn't believe just how big it was. Pretty neat.
Yeah, I can understand that. I've heard start crying.
Yeah, probably. Nah. The last buck I have is the Mark Hammer buck. I believe it was 245.
Mr.
Check it out.
Hammer.
It's not
Mark
one that.
Hammer?
Yep, just like you would think it is.
254 inches.
54, not 245. That deer, I don't know the color of the rack, the shape of it. That's something else. And if you look all those deer
Where was
up,
this killed?
Maybe early 2000s. I'm going to say between '05 and 10, probably.
Man, that thing is really, really cool.
It's a giant. Obviously, you're over 200 inches, and that one over 250. But there's something about just the shape and the way that rack lays that is something else.
Even the tines are thick.
Yeah, yeah,
And I'll be honest, it doesn't look 254 in the picture, so I think if you saw it in person, it would be insane.
yeah. I feel like anytime that happens, that's one of those deers that's so proportioned that you don't even notice. You might have 8, 10-inch brows, and you don't notice it because the regular tines are 13, 14 or something like that. But that is,
Huron County.
yeah, yeah. And again, not a place. So I feel like it's getting better and better. There ain't no shortage of food.
Wow.
And
That thing is sweet.
my crazy horse would be the Alexander buck. I didn't want to put it right on the main mountain there because I don't want people's heads to explode that you mentioned that buck. But if you're going just by antlers,
Well,
that,
yeah.
that's going to go down in history. You know, people still talk about the Illinois roadkill.
Yeah.
And I've never seen them close to each other, but my guess would be uh, there's not really much of a comparison. That thing is just, it's on another level.
And for the sake of our conversation, it's got to be on there because, I mean, the hole in the horn was found dead. I mean, it's an Ohio buck.
Yep.
Whether legit knowledge it was an Ohio buck, that thing needs to be recognized.
Yeah.
I can't wait till you can see it.
Yeah.
Whether it's replicas or is out there, it's going to be awesome.
That, if you can't tell,
Yeah.
I have a thing for big typicals, and maybe with a little bit of trash and some stickers. Those are the kind of bucks that I like. Even like the Kaufman buck there, you know, the Beatty buck that has the crazy scores. I like those ones that have a little bit of a typical, noticeable typical frame and just a bunch of stickers and character to fill it in.
When I was looking at this, one shout out I have to give to for the biggest, I think it is the biggest buck ever killed by a woman, but that Nicole Miller buck killed a couple years ago. Do you remember that one? It was 195.
I
It
don't
was
remember.
actually posted on Trophy Bucks Ohio. I think it was like one of the finalists for Buck of the Year. It's the biggest typical ever killed by a woman. I don't know total, but it is awesome. For deer killed by a woman, I think that's the best. Yeah. Yeah. But I would be willing to say too, you put Ohio's top 4 bucks, say you got 6 or 7 in there that people can debate, it can be put up probably or better than any other state in the country.
Yeah. Well, if I don't know exactly what it was, but if the Beatty buck, yeah, I was gonna say if it nets over 300, which I think it did, you got you got 3 deer that grossed over 300. If I'm thinking right, you got a Kaufman, the Beatty, and the Horn. And
yeah, they
Missouri
all grossed over
Monarch's
300.
supposed
I'm
to be
looking
bigger
at it
than the
now,
hole in the
the
horn.
big Ohio big buck. The Beatty netted 304.
Okay.
And actually,
so right there, you got 2 deer that
buck netted more than the Kaufman buck. 295 net.
295. That's what I was
Kaufman was
thinking.
287, but I know the Kaufman buck grossed over 300.
Wow.
Wait, the Schmucker buck would have had to, or I mean, had to have. It couldn't have only had 5 inches of deductions, or was it that typical?
Oh, super! Yeah, it had a beautiful typical frame.
Well, that's even more impressive.
I couldn't tell you what the sticker is, but It's not like it's not just a jumble of points.
That probably is more impressive that it's 297 and pretty typical.
Yeah, I mean I don't know what its typical frame netted, but those are the kind of deer I feel like you could take a typical framed, a non-typical scored, but a definite typical frame buck. Say it went like that Mark Hammer buck. It goes in the 250s. You could put that next to a 290, and there's a decent chance it's going to look bigger.
Man, now I'm looking at the Schmucker buck. I'm like changing my mind and agreeing with you.
No, it's already etched in stone.
Is it
You
like a
can't change it.
typical? Is it like a typical 16 point or 14 point or something?
Something.
We got the hole in the horn, the Jermaine Stevens. I think those are definite. And then that fourth spot is almost, again, there's like, yeah, Alexander buck, Schmucker buck, Beatty buck, Kaufman buck. Any of them could be there.
Yeah. Yeah. It just
They're
comes
all
down to
huge.
to your personal preference.
Right. And
What
then there's the Contras buck, which you were talking earlier, that there's not a lot of photos and good images of it, which actually is the same exact net score as the Jermaine buck.
Yeah, it tied.
But I looked at it. It's huge. I think I like the Jermaine buck personally because it's the open frame and it's only a 10 point.
Yeah.
I think that other one's like a typical 14 or something. It's real. It's a tighter rack.
And I think I've only ever seen one photo of the Contras buck. If that's
I
even
found like two, and they're not great photos. So maybe different photos. This is why we need Keith Snyder. Where you at? He's like the one guy that's probably seen every one of these and held them.
I could tell you time lengths on just about all of them, probably.
Yeah, I mean, he'd be the person to ask on this. That after seeing them, like which ones would all together. I can't see, but the Alexander buck has got to be as impressive as any of them, with its just consistency of huge measurements throughout that rack.
You see that thing on paper, in my mind, there's no way it's not. I would almost say there's no way you see that in person and you don't think that's the biggest buck I've ever seen. Just looking at its score
Right.
sheet.
I remember specifically driving, getting a picture of that buck, and not even paying it any mind because I thought there's no way it's real. Granted, it was a good picture, but like I'm like, that's a pen buck, or this is just like a fake picture of some sort. Not even like really. Usually I'd be going crazy. I was like that. It was so big I didn't even really care because I'm like, it's not real. And then finally soon after that it was, and it was like, holy cow.
If I remember right, you usually take care of everything, posting stuff, and you were doing something, and that came through. And I remember sending you a text to make sure you saw it, and going, "Hey, check this out. I'm gonna let you make the call on this because
it looked fake."
Yeah, right. It that looks as fake as the Ron Pola book. And old Mitch has been getting beat down for years. Can you say Ron Pola buck on the same show?
I don't know. That's another day. I want to have that debate. We'll get some of get one of the guys on each side and debate that. I would love to hear that.
We'll have them fight first, then they can debate.
I still want to. I would love to see that one too.
Yeah.
But yeah. I don't know. I don't know what the fourth one. I don't know.
Depends what you
Alexander buck is tough not to put on there.
Yeah.
How do you leave though, like the Beatty buck or like they're 300-inch deer? That would be interesting to look at one day. What other states have? Well, how many? There hasn't been that many 300-inch deer, and like multiple. Ohio has, I think. I know of 3 gross, right? Beatty,
Kaufman, hole in the horn.
Kaufman, and hole in the horn.
And the hole in the horn, I'd want to say, and I was starting to say before that Missouri Monarch beats the Hole in the Horn as the biggest scoring buck ever.
Yeah, 333.
In my mind, you put those next to each other, and it's not even close. You know, I just think that
No, yeah,
Monarch has
I've seen those two. I think one of the Cabela's they have them both, and just the frame wise, it looks way bigger. The hole in the
Yeah.
horn.
I mean, obviously both amazing, but I think that's just the way they decided on the Hole in the Horn's typical frame.
Right. I'm kind of shocked I'm looking here, but I think it is that the Schmucker buck doesn't gross. That typical frame was so symmetrical. It was only 5 inches of deductions.
Yeah,
That's
that's
pretty wild.
those are the ones that I like. You got all that character and trash and stickers, but that giant typical frame. Same thing with the hammer buck. I think that's why I like that one. It's
Right.
you don't hear about that one very much. Maybe because it's only 250.
Yeah.
But
That thing's
you know,
insane.
it's still crazy.
That is insane. All right. Well, everyone, let us know what you think. We'll post and I'm anxious to hear the comments. Or maybe there's some outliers. I mean, you could probably scroll through a bunch more Ohio bucks that are right there that we're like forgetting, but I think those are like the definites that
Yep.
everybody knows.
I think so.
All right, we will be back soon enough. Get ready, everybody. Let us know what you're shooting, and then hopefully, I don't even know. This might not be up until when the surveillance season starts. Maybe right around there. But good luck, everybody, and I bet you we'll see a couple big ones in those first couple weeks.
Oh yeah,
we'll
there's somebody right now counting the minutes to the season.
Somebody's watching the monster.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. Adios, buckaroos. Till next time.